We discussed how to set up the inventory in regard to the site and warehouses, and we were in a verge of creating the product. However, creation of a product, as I mentioned, required to have an item group, item model group, a storage and tracking dimension group, and if you're making a product as a product master, then you needed to have a product dimension group as well. I'd like to just directly introduce the product information management for you. And as you see, this gives you a bunch of capabilities. There are so many different workspaces that hopefully at the very end of our session, I introduce these workspaces for you. But at the moment, I just wanted to show you where things are really. There are two ways to do it when you want to create a product. Either you are dealing with a product that is supposed to be defined and engineered in one legal entity, and then you decide where you would like to authorize it and use it. That means you buy it, you sell it, you store it, etc. And then you release it. But the other way is like a bottom-up approach. That means you click on a release product and you basically see for the very first time in this company that I've prepared for you, currently I don't have any release products. So why don't I go ahead and right-click, duplicate this tab and show you that instead of creating a brand new product, I could go to the product management and take a look at all products and product masters. These are all definitions from all the products for all the legal entities that are available. And as a matter of fact, there is a little arrow on the top right-hand side. If I expand it, you actually see that it shows that this specific item has been released 001 to these two legal entities. I like to make this to be available for my legal entity. So I click on a release products and literally I click next and I pick and choose one or more product of my choice which I like to release this product to. So when I choose my company, I can click finish and that will automatically authorizes this product to be used within that legal entity. So now you see my company names appeared here. So if I go back to the release product, originally I didn't have anything. Now if I refresh it, you see the product is available. However, this product is not completed. If I click on validate, it's giving me errors and it's telling me that the item model group and item group are not specified. However, if you take a look at the dimension group, happens that the site and the warehouse and tracking dimension is none, indeed has already been defined as part of the product master. So I only need to answer these two questions. Now, if I don't want to use this, I can simply delete this product. And if I don't have any transactions for this product, I could do that. But if I have a transaction, what does that mean? That means I've bought it, sold it, stored it, moved it, etc. It wouldn't let me delete it. I had to put a stop on a parameter of the item to say not to sell it, not to store it, not to buy it, or not to transfer it, let's say. One of the things you see on this specific product is that the warning or messages don't automatically get disappeared. Now let's try creating a new product. And I'd like to take this opportunity and first of all, just not to talk about the type or subtype, I'd like to put the same number in here, and as soon as I type that in, it's telling me that this number has already been assigned to a product. Therefore, you cannot have duplicated product number or SKU number across different legal entities. Like I said, warnings don't get disappeared automatically. Well, no big deal. We can just get rid of it. Let's talk about conceptual matters for you to understand. There are two types of a product. We know it as an item and a service. Items are those that are tangible. You can feel it, you can touch it, like pen, like paper, like machine, computer. Service are those products that are non-tangible. Think about construction. Like one of the services for construction, isn't it like an inspection? Talking about an item that you buy. Like perhaps you get a permit from the city to do the construction. How's that? That would be a service. So you see, within a construction, if you basically pay for a permit from a city, that would be it. However, you have been using services. You're using my services right now. Training is a service, isn't it? Think about a cup or pen or paper for the copy machine. You buy it to consume it, right? You place it somewhere near copy machine, but would you put it on your warehouse? You don't, do you? So those are the things we say they are not as important. They are important for operation of the business, but they're not important for you to sell or store or be caring about quality assurance or whatnot. If the pen doesn't write, you just throw it away, use another pen, don't you? So those type of an item, even though they're tangible, we call them as non-stockable. Because the way I talk like that, that makes a huge impact on the way you talk to your customers when you want to do implementation. Because the customer may think that their item are stockable or not stockable, but based on what they want from you, you may want to say, hey, you have to make it stockable. Like, for example, somebody comes and say, I want to keep track of all my pens in my company, but, there are expense items. Well, you can say, wait a minute, if it's an expense item, it's not stockable. You know what I mean? But just having an item or a service, that doesn't make it to be stockable or not. There is another thing that does that. We brought an example of a service like training. Everybody has gone to vacation, right? You flew, you basically rented a hotel, you got a rent-a-car. All of those are services. You're not buying a car, you're not buying a hotel room, you're buying a service from that company. However, these type of services, in your opinion, should it be stockable or non-stockable? What do you think? They're all stockable. You know why? When you reserve a ticket for an airline, they assign you a seat. When you book a room in a hotel, they give you a room number. When you get a concert ticket, depending on where you sit, you pay a different price. Just because of that, they have to do a stockability to see how many of that seat are available. Like they say, first class is full. When you're in a hotel, don't they want to know if they need to do replenishment of the soap, shampoo, etc., towel? You see, they have to keep track of a service you purchase, but they need to keep track of it on their inventory to see if the car is available, if the airfare that you paid for, the seat is available, so you can make a service stockable. So why don't I do this? I'm going to make a few products for you. How's that? First of all, let's create an item. And I call this item, usually there are a SKU number, yeah? But I just give it the alphanumerical so I can actually find it easier. I call it IP, yeah? S. It stands for is an item. As a subtype is a product. And I call it the stockable. I like to show you so many things in one shot. And the way I show it to you, by the way, the way I do a demo is for your training. But I strongly recommend you, when you want to do your own demos with your customers, don't do it the way I do it. Just basically discover what is it that they need and only show what they want to see. Because otherwise you may confuse them. Unless it comes to the point that they're not sure, then you can do whatever I do. So these are the tipping point for your consultation experience. So I call this IPS. That doesn't signify if this is a stockable item or not. There is another field, as you notice here, when you're releasing it, you could have a completely different product number that you define to be shared with other legal entities, but have a different product number that is only belong to this legal entity. So you have that capability. If you wanted to sell this in a retail business, you have to associate that with a product category, retail product category, okay? I don't care about that. If the product is in a manufacturing or even in a distribution and trade, maybe you buy 100 kilos of certain products. They may come in a package. The package is a quantity, but the weight is like pound or kilos. So they call it a catch weight. That means that you store it in one unit, but in order to sell it, you have to weigh it. And based on that, you can pay for it, or you can literally not pay for it, get money for it. Like you buy watermelon, fruits, pack of meat. You get a pack of meat of, let's say, filet mignon. Sorry if you're vegetarian, I'm just bringing up an example. I don't mean to disrespect. But if you think about it, those packages of filet mignon there, or meat or whatever, they have different pricing on it. Why? Because of the weight. So here, item model group, I don't have any. Right from here, I can right click, go to the view detail, and I create a brand new one. And I call this item model group to be like FIFO, first in, first out. That's what it stands for. First in, first out. And what does that mean? That means the first item coming to your warehouse should be the first item that should get out. Why? Maybe due to the layout of your warehouse that we talked about the other session. Maybe it's due to the way you would like to calculate the cost. As a matter of fact, inventory model costing is going to say exactly what costs are you using, which we have a different discussion about later on. So many different policies that you can go with. But anyhow, at this stage, as you see, this is a stocked product. If this product is stockable, this checkbox has to be selected. Intentionally, I create something else and I call it perhaps consumption or expenses. We don't necessarily talk about it in any other way. I just call it not stockable. Okay, just for your demonstration, and I deselect this, and immediately the costing doesn't matter because you don't store it in a warehouse. So here, for the item model group, it is stockable. I choose the FIFO. Item group, as I mentioned, is nothing but a posting profile in regard to when you sell, when you buy, store, or produce, what accounts are you going to hit. For example, you're grouping similar items together, like for example, electronic components, TVs maybe. Or maybe you even have two different groups of TVs, like, in the old days you had plasma and LCD, or you can do it by brands. You could do whatever you want. The catch here is, when I do any of these operations, like when I'm selling it, buying it, storing it, or producing it, for every single sub-activities, which account of the general ledger, which is the chart of account we talked about, should I post the information? For this, I just want to make it simple. Say, you know what, I have only one item model group for all my items, but that's not the best practice whatsoever. If you take a look at the demo data like USMF, they have audio, video, those type of things. As soon as I save this, you see that there's so many things that are available in here that you have to associate with the main account. You don't have to plug it in for all of them, but it matters for you to make sure if you're using, like, for example, discount, you have to have an account for it. If you're not using discount, you don't have to put an account for it. If you don't put anything, obviously the system cannot post. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to right click over here and go to the view detail, and that leads me to chart of accounts. Remember, we made this as part of our finance. Now, somebody in finance department maybe has already created those things for us, but as part of my lecture, I also wanted to show you integration between distribution trade, supply chain, as well as the general ledger. So I'm just going to create a brand new one, and I start with like 50,000, and I call it item sales. And while I'm at it, actually, I can make this to be, I don't even care about the type. We did discuss it in finance. It's irrelevant from our point of view. I can make it to be a profit and loss and get it over with. I create another one, and I call it 5001. And again, I call this, for example, item for, let's say, PO. Again, I make this to be a profit and loss. And then I click new, and I put in 50002. And then, as you see, automatically changes this to be an asset. I'm going to make another one. I call it item for prod, which is production. Again, I make it to be, let's say, profit and loss. And finally, we go with 5003. And I say item for purchase. So now I have all these four. So this is sales. And I'm just going to pick and choose the account that I just made. If you don't necessarily see it, you can click show all. But for the sales, I'm using 5,000. But pay attention. In reality, finance department are going to dictate what account this should be hit. So as a distribution trade functional consultant, you don't have to be worried about that. All you need to do, just basically get that list. And every single one of these activities should have its own account. But I don't want to waste the time. So what I'm going to do, anything relates to sales order processing, I'm going to map and link it to the same account. Again, this is not a best practice whatsoever. As I move forward, I explain some of these things randomly for you. Like, for example, how many goods have been shipped out of your inventory? It's going to be placed over here. How many, perhaps, sales return have you received? It's going to be posted over here. How many sales have been canceled? Things like that. So I'm using the same account. It's not the best practice, but you need to have a posting profile here. Do the same thing for the purchase order. Like, for example, for this one, cost of purchased material received. I use 5,001. That's for purchase order, okay? So I come here and I plug in the same amount of values, not to waste the time. So this is a posting profile. You don't have to do it for all of them, like I said, but it's beneficial to make sure that you cover everything that is necessary for a certain demonstration. If you don't have an account, it wouldn't let you indeed post anything. Now, again, for simplicity and shorten my lecture, I use the same account, but that's not the best practice. For inventory, I'm just going to right-click View Detail because I think I put the wrong label there. Yeah, I have the PO. This is the inventory, this is the production. So I use literally this one, edit it, and I actually name it something different. I call it inventory. So let's go back here. For the inventory, I say 5,003, and this 5,003 happens to be, relates to the inventory account. So I'm just going to copy paste the same thing. So what I'm doing here, I'm creating the posting profile for all of the groups of accounts that needs to communicate with the general ledger, and any physical or financial values will be posted there. I'm going to do a production, 50,002. Remember, you do this probably depending on what the customer wants, only one time. Maybe you will make more than one item group, unlike me, but once you set it up, you're set. You don't have to do it again and again, unless they would like to create more item groups. This is just nothing but the posting profile. So pretty much the item group is just a posting profile, and item model group is nothing but a specific policy. Now, having said that, I can pick and choose the item group to be all, but the storage dimension group, I use site and a warehouse. I don't want to do the tracking right now. I don't want to track, no serialize. And as a matter of fact, the standard units came from default parameter. Now, I can click OK. And here, as you notice, I created this item, okay? And I made it to be a stockable item. I validated, make sure I have answered all the necessary stuff. While we're at it, let's go create a second item, and I call it IP non-stockable. It's an item, product, non-stockable. That means you're not going to stock it. So for that, I'm going to pick and choose expenses, which is not stockable, but I use the same item group, maybe the storage and tracking dimension group. And then I click OK. So now, if I basically go and validate it, I'm good to go. So that is a product non-stockable. You had another product which was stockable. So that's the difference between the two. I'm going to create a service. I start product. I still make it simple, which could be a product master. You could do that, which I'm going to show it to you as last demo. Doesn't matter, the service on an item could be a product master. Like, I'm providing a service as consulting, training, implementation. There could be 3 values, 3 variants for it. I call it SPNS, service, product, non-stockable, okay? Make it simple. And then here, I make it non-stockable. Therefore, I choose expenses, the same item group. The storage dimension group is supposed to be stored in a warehouse, tracking, nothing. I don't want to track it. But you have to say you don't want to track it. So both of these are items. This is a service. I create the last one, and I actually choose the service. I call it service product stockable, and choose literally the FIFO item group dimension group, and no tracking, let's say. And I'm good to go. So literally I created 4 products. Item model group is actually dictates this policy, stock products. So these 4s are available. I'm going to make one product master. Could be a service, could be an item, doesn't matter. I choose a product master. Let me put it into perspective graphically, okay? That makes a lot more sense. It's all about the way you design the product. Let's assume you have shirt, like a V-neck shirt. It comes in different colors. The question here is, if this one of these shirts will be treated as a separate product, well, for that you have to create as many shirts as you have. Like shirt white, shirt blue, shirt red, etc. And every single one of them, they may have their own SKU number. However, you could have a shirt that indeed you call it shirt, like product number 1, but it comes in different color. And the color may have so many different variants, like red, blue, yellow, etc. This is an example. This becomes the actual product. We call this a variant. So you never sell the master product, you sell the variant of it. Let's think that you're a retailer and you buy stuff and you want to keep control things in your warehouse. It's up to you to say, I sell the red pen whereas blue pen as 2 different items, or I could say I sell the pen with one price, but what color would you like to have? You have to look at it from an eye of a buyer whereas the eye of a seller. So who is producing it, who is buying it, who is selling it? Like you want to buy a new car. To you, is that a product or a product master? As a buyer. Some of the cars comes with options, right? Like sunroof. Let's think about pen or shirt. If you want to buy like you're buying a shirt, is it a product or product master from a perspective of a buyer? If it's a master, only and only if has a different price based on the size, color, configuration. So if you think about it, if I'm a manufacturer, maybe for me, something is a product master, but the other is just a simple product. Like for example, I could go to a store and I can pick up a shirt. If you buy a black shirt, yellow shirt, red shirt, pink shirt, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. They're all the same price. Everything that has variation is a product master. Everything that doesn't have a variation is a simple product. I'll call this, for example, item, product, master. What does that mean? That means, to begin with, this is not a simple product. It requires a product dimension group, which you could create on your own. Like, for example, you could right-click view detail and take a look at the existing groups, like color and configuration, or just a color, or just a color and size, or mine that has only configuration. You know, there are so many things that you see in here. So which one would you like to use? On the product dimension group, I'm just going to use, let's say, color and style. Configuration technology, it says, is a predefined variance. That means you are responsible to define those variants yourself. Or you could indeed say that is dimension-based configuration. I demonstrate that in our next session. Constraint-based configuration is outside of the scope of our training. So I keep it as predefined variant. That means you already know the variance in there, and therefore you have to be able to create that. However, you require to have an item group, item model group again, the storage dimension group as well, tracking dimension group as well. So tracking dimension group, I just say I don't want to track it either. I just say no. So the rest is okay. I click OK. And now you have 5 products. So we're good to go. We got a few items here. I'm going to select this and I'm going to make sure it's going to be available somewhere else. Let's go to USMF. Completely different legal entity, and I search for this product, which happens to be IPM. Let's see if you have it there. It doesn't exist, does it? Now, what I can do, not from here, but if I go to the definition, either from my legal entity or USMF, doesn't matter, they're all shared. If I search for IPM, I have a capability to release the product, and that's the product master, okay? Therefore, I haven't made any variants yet. So let's cancel this out, make some variants off of it. So for the first one, you did say that you have a product dimension group, obviously. If I go to the product dimensions, you need to have a color or size. And as a matter of fact, there are a bunch of data, they call it product dimension group. Like I put black, I put like, for example, another color maybe brown, and another color maybe, for example, cream, right? On the styles, I actually create a big one is actually happens to be the long one, etc. After that, you need to do variant suggestions. And when you do that, system basically allows you to take a look at all this combination. Maybe you want to select them all, and maybe you want to deselect some you don't want, or vice versa. I'd like to bring all of them in. So as soon as I do that though, these are the variant suggestions. You got the big, long, brown, all of these came over. These are the product variants, yeah? So these product variants are created. Now I can do a release product off of this form and then release to the companies. So now, as you notice, I haven't released it yet. You have a master template and then includes it, and then these are the variants. You can decide which variants are you going to deliver. Maybe I don't want to deliver these two. I click next, and then you could say put it on USMF. So that forces you to indeed bring up all the goodies. They become readily available. You have one master product that you can manage. However, if I go to the release product, to USMF now, you see that the item product master. It's available now. And then here, if I validate it, they're missing some information. So here, indeed, you can change the dimension group, like to site and warehouse, but you may want to change the tracking dimension group, like batch physical or owner or whatnot, or serialize it. And on top of it, you have information about item group, item model group. As you see, these definitions are all happens to be legal entity specific. As you see, these are the products, product master, etc. All of them are available, and as a matter of fact, you can validate them all to make sure that you have addressed all of these values. The first thing I'd like to show you is to create a brand new product, and I call this product my first BOM, yeah? BOM 1. Bill of material. That's what I'm going to call it. I'm mimicking manufacturing, and as a matter of fact, I'm using the same exact item model group, site and a warehouse, and as a matter of fact, I say, you know what? I don't want to track it yet. We're going to talk about serial number, batch number in our next session. I click OK. So, having said that, this is already validated. Everything's good to go. But what I like to do, click on the Engineer tab, and I go to the Designer, and right off of here, I like to make this product having a list of a membership of other components. So what I do, I create a bill of material, and I indeed create a version of this. And I call this version number BOM 1, let's say. We talk about copy later. You could make it site specific. That means this BOM is specific for one site, or is not site specific. It's completely up to you. That's why it's not mandatory. I click OK. I make a BOM that is not site specific. Anywhere you are sending this in any site, you can actually produce it. Now on the BOM lines, I can add components to the BOM, but tell me, I have all the products available, all of them. Pay attention to IPM. Isn't it a master product? All the variants are available as a separate product for my bill of material. That's another reason that you may want to consult to say, if the customer says that, no, I don't think it's a product master, but you know what? Sometimes in some of our BOM, we use red, sometimes we use brown. Then you have to make sure that you make it a product master, not a product. Otherwise, you have to create like as many as variants you have, as many as products separately yourself manually. So you see the power of product master saves lots of time for you. And I refresh this. Within the release products, as you notice, the IPM is not going to show all the variants. It doesn't want to make it so cluttered. However, you can see the variants right from here on the fact box. You see all the variants. But if you take a look at SPS, the SPS is available here. You know what does that mean? That means a service product that is stockable can be a member of a BOM. Can I include a stockable product into BOM? Yes, you can, even if it's a type service. However, the item products, I call it non-stockable. Non-stockable item. Pay attention. This is IPNS. I just want to make sure I didn't goof up. Let's go there. And as a matter of fact, is expenses. And expenses, as a matter of fact, is non-stockable. You do see that here, don't you? Let's select an item that is non-stockable, and I click OK. Can I add it to my BOM? No. You cannot add an item to a BOM if it's not stockable. So to me, honestly, this is a cosmetic bug because they shouldn't even show it. So if it's not stockable, cannot be a member of a BOM. And I think they should not show it to you. What about the service that is not stockable? Can I add that? Check this out. No, same thing. The service or an item that are not stockable cannot be a member of a BOM. However, a service product that is stockable can be added into a BOM. So that's the difference between a service and an item, stockable or non-stockable. You get the picture so far. However, having said that, if I have a non-stockable item, I can't even make a BOM. The design is faded. If I have a service product that is non-stockable, I can't create a BOM. What about the service product that is stockable? I cannot make a BOM either. That's the difference. So if you have a service item that is stockable, could be a BOM line, but cannot be a root BOM. Now let's carry on. I'm going to add a few more items over here, right? And of course, we are going to continue with the subject matter in our next session. But here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to add IPS, and I'm going to add, let's say, one of these variants. I can't do multi-select. Anyhow, I'm adding that, and as a matter of fact, that's the product master. And then right over here, again, I can add a BOM, or I can select any of this product and say add a line before this line, and include, for example, this one, the black one, right before that. So as you see, this actually shows exactly what product it is. This is black, and this happens to be brown. So after you did this, you actually have a BOM now, and I can now go to the BOM versions, and indeed have a capability to say that, okay, how many of each do I want? Maybe hypothetically I want one of these, I need two of these, etc. So if I click on the edit, it's going to tell me, okay, how many of these items do I need? I need two of these in order to make this good. So for example, I need two of these items, and as you see, this is two, and I need one of these and one of these. These are the bill of material to create this product. So therefore, you need to approve it by somebody, and that person happens to be me. When I click OK, when it gets approved, I can actually activate it, and now this becomes a bill of material. So it shows that this item consists of a bunch of other items. And as a matter of fact, you could create another BOM, call it BOM 2. By the way, I'm making a simple product as a BOM. Here, I pretty much do the same thing, go with the FIFO, item group, the storage dimension group, tracking dimension group. By the way, next session, I'm going to create a proper BOM that shows you a different technology using product master, okay? But I click OK, and I go again to the engineer. But what I like to do, I go to the BOM versions this time, and I create a new version off of here, BOM and BOM version in one shot. I could do that. I call it BOM 2, and here what I'm going to do, I'm going to basically just copy it from an existing item. I can make it site specific even if I wanted it to. And I click OK. And it says, okay, from which item number? I say get it from BOM 1 and make it site specific or not. It's completely up to you. And click OK. What happens is it's going to copy everything over. You can simply use the copy and change few things here. Maybe I say, you know what now? I need 4 of these, 3 of these, and 2 of these. So that could be a different BOM, right? Now, however, again, before I approve or let's say activate it, I just wanted to show you, it's just a proof of concept demo. If I go to the designer for BOM 2, you actually see that the items for the BOM 2 should be enabled as soon as you activate them. So you see that you can't do anything with it until it's approved and activated. If I now go to the designer, you see the products. So as long as you haven't activated, the BOM doesn't mean anything.